Welcome back, guys, and today we'll be going over the law of cosines. So hopefully you have watched my previous video, which was law of sines. In this video we'll be going over law of cosines, which is more math than law of sines, but it's not hard at all. You're just following a formula that you need to remember. So here we see that there's three formulas, but it's basically the same thing, but it changes depending on what thing is given. Let's say and there's only two cases. You're either given two sides and then the included angle. Included means in between. And the other occasion is when you're given all three sides. And basically what it's asking you to solve, then you'd know which equation to use. So let's say it's asking for angle C. That means that you want to use this equation because it has cosine C right there. And that C is measure angle C. But what if you're solving for like side length B? You'd want to use this equation right here, because side length B is this. Basically, when you're solving for side length, you'd basically have all the info on this side of the equation. And so it'd be like b squared is equal to 100 maybe, and then you just square root it, and then you'd get the answer like that. If you're solving for a side length, it shouldn't be that hard. For law of cosine, solving for a missing angle is going to be harder because you're solving here. And so you're given here and here and here of the equation. And so yeah, but we'll get to that later. So yeah, basically just try to remember the first formula, the first line. Think of it as A, B, C. And so basically it's the same format for each, but what it asks you to solve. So here on the right side of the equation we have BC, and then it repeats BC here. It's minus 2 multiplied by BC, which is what is used over here. And then cosine with the letter is the letter that is put on the left side of the equation. So it's basically how it is a little bit. And so let's get to the first example. So the first example here, we're given two side lengths and the included angle, and we have to find measure length AC, or as it says, find B. So also that you need to know that when you're looking at the formula, the lowercase letters are the side lengths and the uppercase letters are gonna be the angles. And we would know that, like, of course the letter next to the function is going to be the angle, because that's how it works. And so what we need to do, so we know that we're solving for B, so let's write the formula. We're solving for B, so then we know which formula we're going to use. The left side is going to be B squared. So whatever we're solving for, that's what the letter of the left side is going to be. If we're solving for C, it's going to be C squared. If we're solving for A, it's going to be A squared. And so we can write the formula here. B is used on the left side. So that means it's going to be A, and C, that's going to be used on the right side. So A squared plus minus 2AC, these two letters are the same as here. Although, try to remember that it has a minus 2. I've actually forgot that a couple times. Multiplied by cosine of the angle of the side length on the left side of the equation. And so that's our equation. And then from that, we can just fill in the blanks. So we don't have anything on the left side because that's what we're trying to solve for. A is, if we put a circle on A, so A is 4.2 squared plus C. C is 5.2. 5.2 squared minus 2. 4.2, 5.2 times cosine of 48. Kind of ran out of space there, but yeah, hopefully you guys can see that. And then from there, we can see that it's just all numbers here, so we can solve that. And whatever we get, it'll be equal to B squared. So when we put that into the calculator, it should look like this. And also, if you don't know, you can extend the side of the, if you're using graphing calculator, you can extend the side. And from doing all of this, that should give you 15.45. And then we can just take the square root of that. 3.9. And so that's what B equals. Moving on to the next question here. We're solving for a measure angle where we're given all three sides here. And so when you're solving for a measure angle, this is going to be a little more math, but it's the same format equation for everything. So we're solving for measure angle C. So let's write C's equation, C's formula of law of cosine. So it starts with C squared is equal to, we didn't use A and B, so A squared plus B squared minus 2AB times cosine C. And so we're solving for measure angle C, so what's going to be blank is just this side of the equation. Everything else is going to be filled. So C squared, we have side length C, so 4.2 squared is equal to A, which is 5.1. Also, you don't have to put parentheses here, but for me, I just like putting parentheses there to know that I plugged it into the formula. It might be wasting time, like on the SAT, don't put parentheses, because that probably saves time. Plus B, which is 6.8 squared minus 2AB 6.8. And then times cosine C. And so let's solve the left side first here. So 4.2 squared is going to give us 17.64. And then on the right side, we want to break this equation up. Because there's a cosine C, we can't add that into our math. So I'm going to break it up with these two. So this left side and then this side here. Technically, the cosine here is part of this side, but we can't do any math with that, so it's just going to be this math and this math. If you know what I mean by math, like doing the calculations with those numbers only. And so this right here is going to give us 72.25. And then this right here is going to give us negative 69.36. Technically, you don't have to add this minus sign when you're doing the calculation of this side, but I just did. But you could have split it up like this and then just add the minus sign before you did this. And then multiply by cosine C. And so here, this is just a normal equation like solving for x, and this is our x right here, this cosine C, that whole entire thing. And so we want to do PEMDAS, but inverse of PEMDAS, so then the addition and subtraction will go first, so then let's subtract 72 from both sides here. That's going to give us negative 53.61. And don't worry when you're getting negatives when solving for these missing angles, because I think that's going to happen a lot. And then now we're going to divide since these two are multiplied to each other. So the inverse of multiplication is dividing. And then we can keep this ratio. If you remember from like doing law of sines, right? This whole ratio is equal to a number less than 1. So we can have that ratio equal to cosine of C. I'm going to show you guys that cosine C is equal to that ratio, but in the calculator, you'll actually put the decimal. So this ratio is equal to cosine of C. So that means in the calculator, I'll put it to the left. In the calculator, you'll have cosine of -1. Remember, when we're solving for an angle, we use the inverse. And then in the parentheses would go the ratio. And if you want to know, I got 0.787341, something like that. Let's put that into the calculator here. And then that's going to give us 30, actually I'm going to put it in a different color. It's 38.1 or 38.0622, yeah. So that's our answer for this. And here's the entire work. Yes, it is a lot, but you'll get the hang of it, and it's only for 1 unit, guys. Like, you'll have a lot of school left to go with you. Just think about that. My brother told me that, would you rather just suffer maybe 5 to 8 more years of school, or suffer the rest of your life? If you're not working hard at school right now, you might just suffer the rest of your life. So just think about that, guys. You'd rather suffer your time at school, right? Okay, so here is our third and last example here. This kind of example would be the example that has the most work. So basically, we're given 2 sides and then the included angle. We're gonna solve for measure angle C, which is this angle right here. But the thing is, when we're solving for an angle, we have to know all the side lengths. Yeah, we have to know all the side lengths because, let's say here, let me just write the equation really quickly. When we're solving for, let's say, angle A, we'd have to know all the side lengths because if of these is empty, we can't solve for cosine A because it's like solving for x plus y is equal to 2. What's x? We don't know because there's another variable in the equation. We can't solve for x because we don't know what y is. So yeah. So the first thing we want to do is solve for missing side length b. So let's do that. So because we have b, we're going to be using the b format of the formula. So, and I'm not going to write it, so we're gonna put the calculations into the formula. So b squared is equal to 29 squared plus 24 squared minus 2a, 29, 24 times cosine 101. We're given the measure angle of b. And so we just do the math, or do the calculations there. All of this is going to give us 1,682.6, and that's equal to b squared, so we still have to square it. And b is going to equal 41.02, so just 41. And so we can put that in there. We can write 41 here. So now we have all the side lengths, and we're gonna find measure angle C. So that means we're gonna use C's formula. So C squared, 24 squared, is equal to B and A, or A and B. I don't think the order matters. So 29 squared plus 24 squared. Wait, no. 41 squared, sorry. 41 squared. And of course in the calculator you can put the 41 into decimals, but I'm just writing the whole number. Minus 229. 41 times the cosine of C, which is what we're solving for. And so let's break that equation up. So for this and that, and this over here too. 24 squared is 576. 29 squared plus 41 squared is 2,522. Minus 2,378 times cosine of C. So just solve or isolate cosine C. From subtracting, you should get negative 1,946 is equal to negative 2,378. And then divide that on both sides. And that should give us 0.8183. That's what you should get, but I'm just going to keep it as the ratio. And then just put that in the calculator here. Put this ratio and just put it. when you're putting it in the calculator as cosine -1, and then put it in the parentheses, but I'll just put the ratio here if you guys would like to see. And so we're gonna put that in, and that should give us 35.08 or 35.1 or just 35 degrees. Honestly, I don't think, hopefully your teacher won't mind if you're like 0.1 away, because it's a lot of math and you might have rounded when the teacher didn't round. So yeah, but that is our answer. That is our answer to this example, and this is the one that would require the most math, but yeah. And so that's my video on law of cosines.